is the absolute best time to be planting for next year. Watch. So today we're going to embark on a mission that I don't really want to do. We're going to move this peach tree that's not really doing very well. It's been here for 2 years and it's not really produced. Hell, you can even barely see it when it's all mixed and everything. So we're gonna move it completely out of this section somewhere where it's gonna be hopefully a little bit more happy. Put it into perspective, we've got a peach tree up front. First year it gave us like 60 peaches. Second year gave us like 40 or 50 or something. So they were purchased, I believe, at the same time. As a matter of fact, maybe this one was a year later. Yeah, I think this one was a year later. But anyways, we're gonna move this one out of here because I think there's a couple things going on. One, I think that it gets a little bit too much shade. And two, I think there's a little bit too much weed pressure there. And there's just not but so much I can do. So let's just get it out of here and move it. But that brings the question about, is this really the right time to be planting in the fall? Before we get into that, we are actually going to be swapping with this dune grass here. So we need to get this out of the ground. And this has done pretty good here, but it's just not, it's not what we want up here. This isn't really a big deal. It was a space filler. We had gotten it for free. So it's just such a good time to be moving things around. We still have the heat of the summer, barely. We have the rains of the fall. And we're coming into really mild temperatures. If you think about it, there's, you know, we still have here in coastal North Carolina, which is where I live, we have 60 more roughly, well, now at this point we have about 30 days until our first frost. So if we get something in the ground now, even after your first frost, those roots are still going to be very active and they're going to be kind of getting themselves situated. So we still have a little bit on the trees. We haven't lost our leaves. And if we come over here to this pitiful tree and we look, it still has leaves on it, which means it's still growing, it's still gathering some energy, and this should give it a boost. It only makes sense to move it. You know, this is where capitalism and intelligence collide, because this time of year it's becoming more and more widely known that this is the best time of year to plant certain crops, meaning, and not really crops, let's not, like fruit trees, perennial plants, stuff like that. The state of New York, I don't know the percentage, if all, I think it's all of their planting in the fall season. So if you think about that, that's kind of crazy. And it's two things. You know, capitalism, the reason why it's against capitalism is because this time of year, everybody's offloading all of their plants because they are, you know, tax season. It's coming up on tax season and you can't have anything extra, this, that, and the other. Got to make the profit, got to get it out of there. And then also the labor to take care of it all. You know, and the reason why I say labor to take care of it, because you're thinking, well, hey, you're going to be planting it. What's the deal with that? Where's the labor at? Well, the labor is when you got it in pots, right? You got to water it, take care of it, all that stuff. It's more susceptible to the cold. So by knowing this and understanding that these plants will actually do better, and what I'm really referring to for the sake of this conversation, not just perennials, but these fruit trees, nut trees, and stuff like that, you can take advantage of all of this and get this stuff super cheap. I mean, in the first year, it paid for itself. I mean, come on. Okay, got the tree out. There is not a lot of root system on this tree, which explains a whole lot here. So what I need to do is I need to obviously weed around the root ball a little bit, and I want to just tease out a little bit and see what's going on with this tree, because it's been in the ground for a couple of years and it's not really done anything. And I think, you know, just a combination of things has kind of led to it, as usual. But I wish I could weed every plant like this. Just dig them up, weed them, and then put them back. That'd be awesome. Actually, that wouldn't be awesome. I would hate digging them up, so I take every word I just said back. I'm getting too old for this shit, but it's all good. I enjoy the fruits of the labor. I don't know if I necessarily enjoy the labor as much, but the fruits are worth it. And puns, sure, it's intended. But with the rain coming up right now, this works out really good because one issue, so we've got rain this afternoon, hopefully. And then this weekend, we're supposed to have like a nor'easter come up. And that'll give us probably about an inch of rain. And then hopefully the next day we'll get like another ½ inch. And that will be a really good starting point for this little tree to rehab, because we've got to put it in full rehab mode. So I'll get into that here in just a second. But let me get into a little bit more about just like fall care for plants and stuff like that, for perennial plants. One thing is you want to disturb the roots as little as possible. Yeah, I know, I'm sure I chopped off a number of roots here, and that's fine. But you want to try and do, like, from this point on, just as little as possible for it. So the other thing too is take care not to break anything. And when you come up and I'll see this tree, when I say we're going into the rehab mode of it, it kind of starts here. All these dead limbs, you just take those off because they don't do anything but trick the tree to push nutrients to them. So in reality, what may end up happening looks like we may be removing part of this limb. Well, let's see. Yeah. So like obviously that, and even this little stuff right here, you know, there's not a lot to work with on this tree. So we've got to make sure that we clear up as much as possible, but leave stuff for it to grow, because the first leaves that come out in it are what's going to give it its growth for the year and really push it forward. So we just got to make sure. I did a little trimming before, but this is just really basically rehab for the tree. Yes, I'm going to put this tree in the ground right now, obviously, and then I'm going to give it some organic fertilizer that's just going to break down. You know, again, if we have 30 days, and I say this every time for a reason, and it takes 2 weeks in temperatures like this for organic fertilizer to kick in, then a light feeding will actually kick in and just give it just a little bit to get it through the winter. There should be nutrients up here. It's not a heavily grown area, but you know, it just doesn't hurt to do it. We try not to put a lot of nitrogen in right now, but the potassium is really important this time of year because it's going to feed the roots and make the roots grow, and then let it get, you know, more comfortable in the ground. Hey, while I'm doing this and I'm planting for you, let me know, what are you going to plant? What perennials are you going to plant in the fall for next year? Have you thought about it? Do you want to add some fruit trees? What are your plans? All right, I got it in the ground. And what I'm going to do now is I need to ensure during this process that we keep the roots nice and moist. That's really important, right? So because it's not so hot right now, which is one of the reasons why it's the perfect time, the water is not evaporating when it rains. I mean, look, when you come out in the wintertime, if you live somewhere where it doesn't get a lot of snow and you get a rain shower, dude, it feels like the ground is just wet forever. And that's what we want. We want to take advantage of that. And we want to really get this tree comfortable where it stands. So I always keep a bale of straw around, and this is like rotting straw, so it's even better. I happened to glance over to where it was, and you can't even tell that it was ever there. I am going to put a fig tree over there probably this week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try the Tractor Supply by my house will have trees for like $10. So I may pick up a couple more and just try and sporadically put them out. See what you can get, you know. We just fight with what's good for sun, and then because our yard is so tight, it's the space that's involved as well. So I dug the hole roughly 1.5 times wider than the root ball, and then I just stabbed the ground real deep. You can see right now where the straw is and everything, how big it is, and that's going to help retain everything. And then what we'll do in the late winter, we'll come out and we'll actually move this just like this around the tree, and then we'll put the fertilizer directly on the ground right when we see the buds popping, and then just try and give it as much of a boost as possible. Using the organic fertilizer for that, for the simple fact that it doesn't feed it right away. So in the late winter, when we're throwing stuff like that down, you can be very careful. And if you know, let's say it's starting to bud, right? And the tree knows what it's doing. You know, it's programmed, it's gonna be fine. But if we fertilize it and we give it that food right away and it causes it to boost, then the buds will open up, and you know, if we get a freeze or something, it could damage them. And there goes your crop, put stress on the tree. And again, this tree is in rehab. You have to remember that. We could do that with another tree. But with the organic, again, because of the delay and when it actually kicks in, it works out really good because we can put it in. And then in that time of year, the fertilizer won't really kick in for up to 3 weeks to a month. But it's already in place and it's in there. So we'll go out there and we'll trim and we'll do everything that we need to do, fertilize it all at the same time. And then once the buds open up and the leaves start to really grow, that's when we'll come back and we'll do another fertilization to give it more energy, to push more branches in and stuff like that, because that's what's going to really help that tree grow again and be the rehab be successful. So are we looking for a harvest next year? Not really. As a matter of fact, I may pull all the blooms off of it. I may or may not, depends on how many are on there. If there's a couple, I may leave them on, but if it gets, for some reason, it gets loaded down with blooms, I may just pull them all off and just let the tree worry about growing regular leaves and branches and just let it do its thing. The other option we can do is I can cut that tree in half and just start over. But I don't think we want to do that right now. If it doesn't do any better next year, that's what we would do. And that would just start the whole rebranching process over. But for right now, let's just leave it and see what it does. So it seems very weird, but for this spot right here, that's where the peach tree was. If we put something here, believe it or not, just that far actually gets more sun. The trees on the other side, it blocks where the peach tree was, and as it comes through, it actually gets more sun through here. That's gonna be the spot for probably a fig tree. I think I wanna do a fig tree or two. Looking for small varieties, nothing that gets really big. And again, you get them on sale right now, so it's great. You know, we typically go and we buy all of our perennials right now, and we put all of them in the ground. So I don't know what I wanna do here, because last fall I put down probably 5 inches of donkey crap down there. And I just kind of let it do its thing, and I put some wildflowers out this year just to condition the soil a little bit. So I'm not sure how I want to landscape it, if I want to do perennials. I really would like to do like a self-sowing garden, which is going to take a lot of effort, but I may end up doing that and then putting a tree or two in here just to kind of help. And then that will help the whole process as well. So we got to plan that out, but now's the time. We can get them cheap. We can get them in the ground as long as you keep them watered right now and nothing insane happens, meaning you don't have this crazy drought or like sub-0 temperatures in your area where you're not supposed to have that, then you're gonna be just fine. So, and the other huge benefit to this is next spring, only thing I gotta worry about planting is this guy over here. Other than that, I don't have to worry about anything else. Goodbye.